CBS 6 News starts now.
A New York State trooper staring down the barrel of a gun. The deceased suspect's family is now speaking out, what they say they continue to grapple with.
Another one bites the rust. A bridge notorious for collisions claims its latest victim. The bill sitting on the governor's desk that could help address this problem.
And I am watching showers to our south, looking at just how far north into the area they could make it tomorrow. That's coming up.
But first, and all new tonight, a story you'll see only here on CBS 6. We're speaking with the family of a man accused of shooting a state trooper in Duanesburg this past Friday.
The shooting happened on I-88. Trooper Richard Albert's body camera capturing the moment he saw the gun pointed at him from the car that he had pulled over. Thankfully, he did survive. State police say it was Nelson Trochet's hand on the trigger. He fled, and ultimately, state police say he shot himself before he could be taken into custody. CBS 6's Brianna Supardi is bringing us the latest on this tonight. The family member that she spoke to says she's dealing with a lot of mixed emotions right now. Bree?
Nelson Trochet's family wants answers as to what exactly happened Friday, saying police haven't given them much details about the incident and that they've learned most of what they know through news reports. His family wants to give him a proper burial, but they don't know when police will release his remains to them.
Very, very heartbreaking situation, to say the least. It's a lot of whys and what happened. We just want to know what actually happened.
Jara Gibson has been searching for answers ever since she learned that her cousin, 32-year-old Nelson Trochet, died Friday, still trying to wrap her head around the events that led up to it all. State police say that Trochet shot trooper Richard Albert during a routine traffic stop on Interstate 88 Friday morning. He then fled the scene, igniting a massive manhunt in a Duanesburg community. An hour and a half later, police say they located the 32-year-old in a wooded area suffering from what they say was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Trochet was taken to Albany Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead.
When I initially heard about it, it was just complete shock. Wait, what? Again, he did just come home from jail. So we were all happy that he was home. He was trying to reconnect with his children. We've shed a lot of tears for Nelson. And again, we are also very heartbroken about an officer that was shot. So I don't want people to see him and think that he's like some savage and that he comes from a family of monsters, and he doesn't.
At 17 years old, Trochet was sent to prison for a manslaughter charge. He was just released this March. Gibson says she thinks being in prison for more than a decade took a toll on his mental health.
When you go through something as traumatic as jail for however many years, very traumatic for somebody, definitely will take a toll on somebody's mental health. I'm really sad that it ended the way it did.
Gibson says that Trochet's family, especially his two daughters, want his body released to them so they can get some closure, giving him a proper burial. But police still have those remains, and Gibson wants to know why.
When I asked him what the body is being held for, he told me it's being held because it's evidence in an investigation. Very short, which is understandable given the circumstances. A police officer has been shot. But we just wanted a little bit more information than his body's being held for evidence.
I reached out to state police to find out the status of Trochet's body and when it might be released to his family. At this point, I have not heard back. Reporting in Latham, Brianna Supardi, CBS 6 News.
And the driver of the car, Alicia Ariel, is facing 2 robbery charges and a weapon possession charge in connection with that traffic stop shooting. She's behind bars at the Schenectady County Correctional Facility with bail set at $100,000 cash. We will continue to keep tabs on her case. You can expect increased police presence in the Lansingburg community of Troy tonight as officers continue to investigate 4 separate fires that they say were found burning inside vehicles early this morning. The investigators are trying to learn whether those fires are related and to identify any potential suspects who might be involved in this. Now, at last check, they had not taken anyone into custody in connection with the fires. Troy police are thanking the residents who have already handed over their surveillance camera footage, and they're asking for more. They say the fires happened between 11:30 last night and 2 o'clock this morning. There's also new information tonight in the case against pilot Michael Arnold. He's accused of stalking a Schuylerville woman both on the ground and in the air. CBS 6 has been leading the way in our reporting on this, and we've now confirmed that the FBI is officially investigating. Schuylerville resident Cassie Willett says that Arnold has been terrorizing her since 2019. She says she's long felt that the FAA and the New York State Police did not do their due diligence in investigating her claims or complaints made by others in the village about Arnold's flying habits. She says it wasn't until our cameras caught Arnold driving by her business last month that law enforcement really started to take her seriously. The Saratoga County Sheriff's Office responded to our 911 call that day, and as a result, Arnold was charged with stalking. A new order of protection against Arnold was put in place, this one including a cease and desist order for flying any aircraft. Arnold was arrested for violating that do not fly order the very next day.
This is no way to live, and it's terrifying, to be quite honest, because at any point it could be the day that he chooses that he's landing in the middle of the village. I definitely solely credit everything that's happening on the ground to Saratoga County Sheriffs and taking it seriously.
Arnold is scheduled to appear in court early next week, where his lawyer is expected to argue that do not fly order.
A man who in his youth was a poster child for raise the age criminal justice reforms has been arrested once again. And this is the gun Albany police say the now 25-year-old Marquise Dixon had in his possession last night in the city. Officers say Dixon was on parole and had only just been released from state prison May 11th. These are just a few of Dixon's mugshots we've pulled from our archives. Past arrests range from drug charges to possessing counterfeit currency to menacing. We first learned Dixon's name about a decade ago. As a teenager, he was handed a steep 9-year sentence for stealing sneakers. At the time, New York was one of only a few states in the country where 16-year-olds were treated as adults in these sorts of cases. That changed in 2018, largely due to activist efforts that used Dixon's case as an example. Tonight, Dixon is in the Albany County Jail on the new weapons charges. And today, a local bridge known for taking out trucks that are too tall continued to live up to that notoriety. Another box truck opened up like a tin can by the Glen Ridge Road Bridge in Glenville. These photos were sent to us by a viewer. This happened right around evening commute time and led to serious traffic problems in the surrounding area. Both the town and the state have tried several strategies to try to stop these collisions, including signs, beacons, and a turnaround area, but still the crashes keep coming. State Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara represents Glenville. He says a bill he co-sponsored, which would require the state DOT commissioner report bridge collision information so solutions can be formulated, has made it to Governor Hochul's desk, and he's urging her to sign it. We've done extensive reporting on the bridge, including You Paid For It reports about just how much all of these crashes are costing taxpayers. You can find all of that information at cbs6albany.com.
With money for new emergency equipment and workforce development, the American Rescue Plan is doing a lot for the residents of Warren County, with those dollars being stretched really in every direction. The American Rescue Plan Act program, or ARPA, was initiated to help distribute federal aid to communities that were affected by COVID-19. In Warren County, $12.4 million was awarded, and many of the projects have since been completed. 11 small businesses and 17 first responder agencies, along with 28 nonprofits and even some government agencies, have all benefited from the ARPA funds, helping the economy to recover, especially in the county workforce.
With our $523,000 that we were awarded, we've also been able to add technology to our career center here in the Travelers Building. So additional laptops, iPads, training TVs, all for the purposes of helping to upskill our job seekers.
We had culverts that were damaged. We had roads that needed to be repaired, and we put some of the money towards that.
A big push still remains to continue to find funding for the coverage of broadband that ARPA was not allocated for. County officials say broadband coverage is nearly 97% complete.
Now to a crisis in the classroom, and CBS 6 continues to dig deeper on new state education department guidance on LGBTQ+ students. Guidance that, among other things, says students can begin a gender transition at school without parent or guardian knowledge. Referred to as a framework, it includes guidance to staff on how to behave when a student comes out and how to handle name and pronoun changes. The policy was presented and discussed at the Board of Regents meeting earlier this month. The move by the state has caused some concern and backlash from parents. kids. One Board of Regents member did not hold back, mentioning the nonprofit Moms for Liberty and those in general who would oppose this policy in public schools.
We actually need to be cognizant that there are parents in that neighborhood actively fighting against what we're trying to do here. We have to fight against these bigots who are trying to, frankly, kill our children.
The framework's family knowledge section also states, quote, only the student knows whether it is safe to share their identity with caregivers, end quote, and that some don't want to or cannot have their parents or guardians know about their transgender status.
The Albany Empire may be out of the NAL and disbanded as a team, but that doesn't mean that the capital city will be without arena football for long, because today the general manager of the MVP Arena, Bob Belber, tells us his venue will have a team in 2024 under new ownership with a new team name and a new logo. He went on to say he doesn't know which league the team would be in, the IFL, the NAL, or the AFL. Those are all arena football leagues. But again, Belber says that football will be back in Albany to some extent next season.
A plan to regulate artificial intelligence, what senators are planning and the challenges they say they face. And a desperate search growing even more desperate. The latest efforts to find a lost submersible and the signs that hope may not be lost.
And showers are lurking not too far to our south. Looking at how far north into our area these could get coming up tomorrow. That's the weather. Also going to talk a little bit about climate tonight and how that relates to the tie and the lapel pin I'm currently wearing. That's all coming up after the break.